What's up, everyone? Kyle here. I'm really excited to be starting a subscription for this podcast. Now, that doesn't mean that you need a subscription to listen to this podcast, but the benefits of getting a subscription are no ads like this one, and a shout out on each episode, as well as knowing that your money is going towards doing something good. This money is not meant to go to me. Some of it is meant to help me maintain this podcast and keep getting guests on, but most of it is meant to go towards providing school supplies towards kids in need. It's my commitment to put $3 of every monthly subscription towards providing school supplies to kids in need and helping them achieve their goals and dreams as well. This is a passion of mine. This is something that I really have been pursuing. This is why I have started all this, the podcasting, the books, everything like that, was to give opportunities to other people. So I'm very excited to be able to do this now. The subscription is $4.99 a month, so nothing crazy, less one cup of coffee a month, that sort of thing. But it's very exciting, and it's going towards something that I am really passionate about and believe in. And I hope you enjoy the benefits of being a premium subscriber. There'll also be discounts and things along the way that I'll make available to people as time moves on and as this continues to grow. The link to subscribe is in the description below, so check that out. There's also a link to donate towards the mission of providing school supplies to those in need, so you can do that as well. Thanks again, and enjoy the episode. All right, welcome everyone. This is Our Travel Experiences. I'm your host, Kyle Rasmussen, and today I have with me my friend Emma. Emma, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm going to apologize to the listeners. I already apologized to you, but losing my voice here. I'm currently in Dubai as I'm recording this with Emma, and I've been talking all week at a very big conference, and so my voice is trying to give out on me a little bit here, but we'll get through it here. So, Emma, kind of give me a background. We met in Cuba earlier this year, which was kind of wild. That seems like so long ago, actually.
I know. It seems like a year ago or more.
Yeah, but you've been all over the place this year, so I'm really really interested to hear about your travels today. But let's just kind of start off. Where tell me about what you thought about Cuba and our trip there.
I loved Cuba. It's someplace I've always wanted to go. And then it was a spur of the moment. Well, not spur of the moment, but like it was Chris, our friend that was on the trip. He said he was going, so I quickly signed up too. Wasn't on the 2023 plans, but I'm glad it was. It was just so cool to see that culture. And
What's up, everyone? Kyle here. I am super excited to share that my audiobook version of Travel Tips is up now. You can find it on Audible, Libro.fm, and anywhere else that you get your podcasts. Go check it out and buy a copy. It also has 30 minutes, a little over 30 minutes of bonus commentary that isn't in the actual book, so that's a little added bonus. But go check it out. I appreciate all the support, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode.
it wasn't on the 2023 plans for me, but decided to join along. And I'm glad I did because it has always been on my list to see some point. It's a place that's not always been open to us, but it was amazing to see that part of the world. It's just a totally different world with culture, government. One of the most different in that ways, and it was one of the most learning experiences I've ever had in a different country. So I loved it.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite amazing. I mean, I don't, I think it's kind of hard to know what to expect going to a place like that, especially with some of the history there. But I thought it was probably one of my favorite locations that I've been to personally. I mean, the people were so nice, the weather was perfect. I mean, so many great areas of that. It was really, really quite surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so much, like when you tell people you're going to go to Cuba, I think there's a lot of angst around there, and
Yeah,
makes you a bit nervous. And then when you're there, I probably felt one of the safest places I've been. Like I've personally
yeah.
have felt safe there. So it's
Yeah,
just
honestly, it was very everyone was super friendly, like didn't have any issues, late at night or anything like that. It was awesome.
yeah. And our trip leader made it even more amazing, I think,
Yeah.
having that
Yeah.
local connection.
Hmm. Yeah, so is that the first time you've been on an FTLO trip?
First international FTLO. I've been on the Denver trips. That's how I met Chris, was on the Denver one in the fall. And that was just a weekend one
Yeah.
um,
What was
on the
that
ranch.
experience like?
It was interesting. It was actually their last one, but it was a local experience. It was fun. You just went out onto a ranch. I went horseback riding a couple times, so it was good, relaxing weekend. But it wasn't like one of their international trips.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Do you have plans more with FTLO in the future?
Yeah, looking at, I haven't figured out my 2024 yet, but the Colombia one is actually really on
Ooh,
top of my list out of their trips.
yeah,
We've
I
been
did
on the
that one. That one is amazing.
yeah. Another spot that like I feel like there's some angst when you say that you're gonna go there, but I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, kind of same thing. Like, there's some, I guess, negative connotations around that place, but when you get there, you realize, man, everyone's just so happy, and it's a lot safer than you think, and people are so welcoming. Food's great and everything. It's just, I don't know. I think that's the case with a lot of places around the world, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what other trips did you go on this past year?
This year, so I did that one. I did for domestically, I went to New England, which is where I'm originally from. So I was
Okay.
able to bring some of my friends there. We did Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So that was really great to show some of my friends from the South,
Yeah.
the where I grew up. And then internationally, I did through FTLO, I did Turkey. And this is all one group, but I did Turkey and then left the group trip and went to Italy, which was my base point in Milan. And then I did Switzerland, and then like Como. And that portion was completely by myself, solo.
Okay. What's that like going from a group trip to a solo trip?
I was really nervous this time around. So I used to, before the pandemic, I've been solo a couple other places. Like I've been to Portugal by myself and then Vietnam. I went
Mhm.
for a couple weeks. I did the full backpacker thing where I didn't have any plans or all my hostels set up. But it's been years since that. I think that was 2019 or
Okay.
2018. So I felt really out of practice. I was definitely nervous because when you're with the group, you have kind of that built-in family or built-in friends.
Yeah.
Um, oh, it's completely different. But I think I actually thrive a little bit more solo because I'm more timid and reserved. So I feel like I still get lost in group settings sometimes. But when you're completely solo, you have to branch out and you have to ask people for
Yeah.
directions and all that.
Yeah, I feel like every introvert should have to go travel solo because it really forces you out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. And it proves to myself every time that I will make friends. It will be okay.
Yeah. I always enjoy that. Like, I've traveled solo a lot, and just like going to a coffee shop or a bar or something, and just kind of sitting there, and like you can talk to the barista or the bartender, and then you can meet the people next to you and stuff like that. And just I feel like you can make some really great connections just doing that.
Exactly. Love that.
Um, so yeah, what'd you do in Turkey with FTLO?
Yeah, so we started in Istanbul, did that for a couple days, and that was cool to see like the cultures with the mosques. I've never been to a mosque or anything like that before. Um, and then we did the spice market, the Grand Bazaar. Istanbul is huge. I don't know
Yeah,
why I didn't like. I knew it was big, but it was just very, very busy. So that was cool to see that for a few days. I feel like I could see more. There's just so much to see in Istanbul. And then we did Cappadocia, and the hot air balloons, which was amazing. Did that at sunrise. I spent a few days there, and then we went. towards the coast. So then we did Ephesus and then Bodrum, which was the coast. So it started out really busy, and I feel like it just kind of tapered off and was more relaxed by the end, which was
Okay.
kind of nice.
Yeah. What was the sunrise like in Cappadocia? I think that's like a bucket list for so many people.
Yeah, it was amazing. I would definitely recommend booking ahead if you can, because they book up fast. But
Okay.
um, it was amazing. Like there's like hundreds and hundreds of balloons. Wasn't nervous at all. Like I thought I was, 'cause I don't always love heights, but it wasn't scary at all. They're so big, the balloons. Like I think there's like 20 people at least in the balloon.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Jeez.
yeah, huge. They're huge. But it was fun to see, because we saw one morning we actually went up in them, and then the next morning we watched them from the ground. So that was cool too to see them from that
Oh, very,
perspective.
very nice. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get kind of best of both worlds there.
Yeah, exactly. And they're everywhere. Like you turn in the corner and there's balloons right at you in the morning.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So Turkey, and then you said you went to Italy.
Yeah, so I had my base point, which was all that was not the original plans of where I was going to go, but I just decided I wanted to do something solo. Um, but I did Milan was the base point just because you can take a train to Switzerland and then a train to Lake Como, which is where I ended up at the end of my trip. So it was just a night in Milan each night.
Okay. Did you get to explore Milan at all?
I didn't explore too much, but that was just because I had really bad luck when I was going to Milan. Like every
Oh
time I
no.
traveled there, I just had bad travel days and just bad luck. So I didn't
Oh
get to
no.
explore Milan as much as I wanted to, but I've been
Yeah.
lucky in my travels to not have bad luck until this trip. So it's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Tell me about, what are some moments when, maybe a flight got delayed or some other issue arose? Like, tell me a little bit about that experience and how you kind of overcame it.
Yeah, so Milana just seemed like it was just chaotic. So like the first time I went there, it's just chaos on the flight itself. It was very busy. Didn't have any delays, but it was just the airport is like an hour away and trying to get transportation there. So by the time I got there the first night, there wasn't much to do. But then I learned that there was train strikes the next day, which thank
Oh,
God my
no.
hostel person told me that. So I was gonna like explore, but then I was like, okay, I gotta leave at like 6 a.m. so I can miss the train strikes. Um, then when I got to Switzerland, it was fine. But then on the way back, because of the train strikes, they were overbooked. So everybody had like double, like two people per seat, assigned seats.
Oh,
So it was just
yeah.
chaos. And then
That
my
sounds awful.
phone, yeah, and then my phone didn't connect to any service, like Wi-Fi or service. So I had like 2 hours trying to figure out where I was going once I got to Milan. So that was the point where I was like, I need to, because it's getting dark, and I was like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I need to make a decision. And that's like a point where I think traveling is so important for everybody because it shows you have no choice but to deal with it. You can't
Yeah.
freak out. So
Yeah.
I
You got to
eventually
kind of
did.
learn things on the fly, don't you? And just kind of figure it out as you go.
Exactly. Like I was like, I either am just gonna go and hope that my memory's good, or I try to find somebody. And I did eventually find someone that connected me to their hotspot, so I could get to my
So
hostel. But
nice.
yeah, it was chaos. And then when I got like later in the week, once I got to Lake Como, which the
Mhm.
main way to go around there is by ferries. And then it was like a 2 hour wait to get tickets. And then while we're there, they
Oh,
announced that all ferries were going to be postponed because there was a boat race.
oh gosh.
It was just figuring all that out too. But again, you just gotta figure it out as you go because you can't just stay there and freak out.
Yeah, I'm
So,
curious. How much time do you think you've spent like waiting in an airport or waiting for a boat or a ferry or a car or something like that?
well, in Italy alone, I feel like I probably spent like 5+ hours per day. I feel
Yeah.
like each day I sit there. Um, I've had luck, knock on wood. Hopefully, I'm not jinxing myself for 2024, but I've actually had really good luck um, with travel in general. So like with delays and flights and all that, I haven't spent too much. I feel like at delays, I've had a few hours here and there.
Mhm.
Uh, I was overdue, I guess. I would have liked it not to all be in 24 hours,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've been lucky for the most part.
That's the unpredictability of travel, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you're
Um,
solo, like with on trains, you have to be more cautious too, because you can't just leave your bags because you don't want
yeah,
them stolen. And then just thinking about
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah, definitely. So then Italy, and then you went to Switzerland. And how long were you in Switzerland?
I was only there for 4 days, and I already like I want to go back so badly. I
Yeah,
just want to go
the
to
pictures look
somewhere.
amazing.
It was amazing, yeah. So I just I went to I'm going to mispronounce it. It's the Interlaken area, but it's Junfraga. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah,
But it's a region of that area where there's Interlaken, Lauterbrunnen, and Grindelwald. And then I stayed in a little tiny town on a mountain called Gimmelwald. So you have to like take a train to Grindel or to Lauterbrunnen and take a gondola up to the mountain, and that's
oh
where I
wow.
stayed for a few days. Yeah,
Wow, what was that like? That had to be amazing.
it was amazing. I had plans to do other things like in like the town, like the bigger towns off the mountain, but once I got to that hostel, I didn't leave the entire time I was there, which was only a few days. But there's just so many hikes around. There's another town like further up that you can walk to or take a gondola to.
Wow.
Tiny
Oh,
town. Like there's our hostel and then there's one other hotel. And then otherwise it was just residential.
dang,
No cars.
that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, I'm sure the views were just incredible from up there.
Yeah, like every window, it was just because it was in a on a mountain, but kind of in a valley, so you just had all the Alps surrounding you.
Oh,
And like it didn't even look real when you were looking at it. Like I know it's real, but it doesn't look real.
yeah,
It was
dang, I'm
amazing.
jealous. Um, so yeah, how did you discover that place? I mean, I feel like I've never heard of those places before, and I feel like that's maybe not the most touristy place.
I don't know. I feel like probably just social media or maybe like different, like I watch different travel videos
Yep.
sometimes on YouTube. But somehow just found, I think, the mountain hostel and then I figured it out from there. Um, and that's where I learned about like, because I feel like Interlaken's pretty well known, but I didn't know about Lauterbrunnen or Grindelwald, but it's all that like same area. So once I've discovered Mountain Hostel, I feel like that all stemmed from that.
So you said you were just hiking, and what other kind of stuff do you do when you're traveling solo?
So I usually don't have like an itinerary or anything. I just, which is great with the hostels too, especially this hostel. Like you find friends and they give you ideas.
Mhm.
I'm a big person of I just like to walk around. Like if you're
Okay.
in a city, walk around the cities, go to the cafes, restaurants, that type of stuff, walking tours.
Do you have
I'm not a huge
any?
museum person, but
Sorry, what was that?
I'm not a huge museum person, so I don't usually do
Okay.
that type of stuff. But I really just love getting the cultural experience. Food tours are good too.
Yeah. Is there anything like each place you travel to that you like a souvenir that you always get, or like a certain food that you always try, or something like that?
Postcards. So I try to
Postcards.
get a postcard like, and I've been slacking on that lately, but I usually get postcard each destination. I have a whole box full of them. So I like those. Just look back, and I like unique ones. Like if there's not the typical, like I like finding vintage postcards if possible. It's
Yeah.
harder to find, but
What's your favorite postcard that you've gotten?
um, there was one. I think it was Barcelona, and it was a vintage one. Like it was one from like probably the 50s or 60s. So that's
Okay.
probably my favorite one that I have.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What's was Barcelona your favorite place that you've been to?
No, I think the favorite place I've been to, well, Switzerland, because that was
Yeah.
a crazy experience. But then other than that, I really, really love Portugal. Porto, particularly, I love Porto. And then I really like Vietnam too. Each place is so different, but I would say Portugal is
Yeah.
probably my favorite place, and Switzerland. Like those two are my favorite places I've been. And then
Okay.
Vancouver. So,
Yeah. I don't know. People always ask me that question, and it's so hard to answer because every place is so different. Like you said, it's hard to really choose because they're all amazing in their own way.
I know. And like there's places that you can see yourself, like there's places that like I can see myself living here, and then there's places that
Mhm.
are so different and you love it because of that too.
Yeah, yeah. So if you said you really want to go back to Switzerland, would you go back to the same area, or do you want to explore other parts of Switzerland?
I feel like I should explore other parts, but I do really love that area. There's
Yeah.
just there's so much in that because there's a big it's a very active area too, so there's skydiving if you're interested in that.
Oh, okay.
Um, and all the different like adventure sports and like more hiking and just there's so much I didn't see while I was there because I which is great. I love just kind of taking it easy and going with the flow, but there's so much I didn't see because I chose just to stay on the mountain. Um, so I do want to go back at least for a few days to see the area and do the things I didn't do.
Mhm. That's awesome. And so then you just recently got back from Charleston, South Carolina. Is that right?
Yes. So that was a spur of the moment. I booked it like 3 days before going.
Oh,
I
wow.
just needed to, yeah, I needed a weekend away. So, but that was nice. My first time there.
Okay, what'd you think?
It was nice. I've been to Savannah. I feel like they have similar vibes, like with the southern low country
Mhm.
cities. Very big into the food scene. So it
Yeah.
was nice at Christmas time too. So I don't know what, like I knew it was going to be Christmassy, but it felt so like storybook perfect Christmassy. So that was cute to see all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I just
Have you traveled to a lot of places like during Christmas time?
not too much. I did that, and then a few years ago, before the pandemic, I went to Quebec City with my
Oh,
mom.
wow. That had to
Since
be amazing at Christmas.
yeah, like that was beautiful because they had the Christmas markets and um, the old cities just all decked out for Christmas. That was another storybook place for
Yeah.
Christmas.
I feel like people people should really not sleep on traveling around Christmas because there's so many beautiful places in the wintertime with all the holiday lights and things like that. I mean, it's incredible.
I know. I want to go to the eventually go to the European Christmas market. I think everybody wants to go there.
Highly recommend. I've been to a couple. They're amazing. Actually, well, as we're recording this, and next week I'll get to go to one, and very much looking forward to that.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. So what would be maybe some of your like top places that you want to visit now?
Um, so Colombia is one of them. It's been on my list for a bit, but I do want to go to South Africa. I haven't
Ooh,
been
oh
to
yeah.
Africa. I haven't been to Africa or South America, so those are two continents I need to get to.
Okay.
Um, and then like looking at either Morocco or Egypt. There's so many places I want to see, but I feel like those are on my
Yeah.
top for the next year or
Yeah.
so, a couple years.
Okay.
I want to
Yeah.
go back to Asia again too, but
Yeah. Another hard question to answer because there's so many places that are you always want to go to. I feel like the list never gets shorter.
I know exactly.
Um, so kind of share maybe one or two of your favorite moments traveling that you can think of.
Mm. Of course, I feel like I keep talking about Switzerland. It's not just because it's the reason, but it was so amazing. I think with Switzerland, because I not everybody likes to do hostels. I feel like people sleep on those sometimes, but that hostel was amazing because you just everybody was there just to like relax and like go hiking. You'd make friends, and everybody just kind of like went off on their own in the morning,
Yeah.
then convened in the evening. So I think that was just such a cool experience just to be there, make connections. Actually, I met people from North Carolina. They were the first two people I met. So I'm like, you travel across the world and you meet people from North Carolina. um, but I think that was just such a unique experience. Like to be in a place where there's no cars. You had service, but everybody was pretty much disconnected anyways, though, because there's just
Mhm.
around there. So I think that was one of my favorites. Vietnam, I really liked the experience because I felt like that was a big um, learning experience, I guess, for me. But I went there, didn't have everything planned out, and I kind of just fully did the backpacker thing of figuring out as I went. So I think that was a really good travel experience too. And then
Where else did
along,
you go in Vietnam?
yeah, so I started out in Hanoi. Um, did a few days there, did Halong Bay, did a cruise there. So that was amazing to see that part of the world. Just totally different landscape, of course, than I'm
Yeah,
used to. And then did an area called Ninh Binh, which is like more towards the middle, is a mountainy area with rivers going through it. They say it's like the Halong Bay, but like on land, I guess. And then finished it out in Hoi An. And I was gonna do other things, but I ended up staying in Hoi An for a week. So
wow.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I've heard of Vietnam is amazing, but I've never had the chance to go. But maybe I'll be able to go soon, and I'll ask you for a bunch of recommendations.
Yeah. I did it for 2 weeks and I wish I did longer because I only saw part of the
Really?
country. Yeah, a lot of people do like a month and they start from either north to south or go south to north. But
Okay.
yeah.
When you travel, do you usually go for like a week or two, or do you like to do like a month or longer? Have you had the opportunity to do that?
I wish, but no. With work, I think 2 is probably the max. There was one time where I did
Yeah.
3 weeks, and that's when I did Spain. I did a couple of weeks with a different group, and then I did the Portugal portion, which was by myself for a week. So that was 3 weeks, which was nice. um,
Yeah.
yeah, 2 is usually my max that I can go with work.
Mhm. Yeah, it's always the struggle,
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other maybe like challenges have you faced while traveling? Or other moments that really stand out to you?
Um, I mean, I think just everywhere you go, just figuring out the culture and the language. I think like the first day or two, it's almost like a whirlwind and
Yeah.
shock to the system of trying to figure it out and figure out where you're going. And like I said, I've been pretty lucky for most of the years of not having too many bad challenges. But I think there's that figuring out transportation, just knowing where you're going to go. I think most of my stuff though has been all clumped together in Italy. I've
Yeah.
been, yeah, I've and then figuring out visas. I do research beforehand because I have the challenge too, like especially when I'm solo of being a solo female traveler. So doing the research ahead of time, and so I look at the safety, like the travel board and all that too, of getting some more information as far as general safety, then also the safety of being a female on your own.
Yeah, as a solo female traveler, have you ever felt unsafe as you've kind of traveled and backpacked around?
For the most part, no. I would say in Germany and then a little bit in Italy. Was it like the two major spots where I felt like a little bit unsafe? And then, sorry, my cat. Um, but overall, I've usually felt safe. I mean, you use a lot of caution. You're kind of always looking around and being on edge. And I do
Yeah.
research a lot about the areas, but um, that was one thing that happened in Germany. I had dropped my ticket and the security guards on the train made a scene, like on the train.
Oh
They knew
no.
it was a scene, so that was one challenge. So I'm a little bit scarred with trains ever since then. But overall, I felt pretty safe. That's why I said too, like in Cuba, I felt super safe, like one of the safest places I
Mhm.
felt, which kind of surprised me. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What advice would you have for, maybe a solo female traveler who's looking to do the hostel backpack kind of travel?
Yeah, I would say research is the best thing. So not just with the safety boards. I think if you just Google, there's different solo female bloggers um,
Hmm.
around there, both backpacking and ones that do hotels. But they kind of give their input as well as if they felt safe and some tips and tricks that they've done. I think that's the
Yeah.
thing that helped the most. And just being cautious too. Like if I do hostels, I look, which I feel like I'm kind of aging out with those, but I feel like with that, I do look at Hostel World, kind of get some of the reviews, see what the culture's like there too, and
Yeah.
just in your gut. Like I didn't, the one in Milan, the hostel wasn't the best scenario, so I did end up just moving to a hotel, just trusting your gut with that. But
Yeah. Yeah. Some hostels are really nice, some not so much.
exactly, I've been lucky. I would say only a couple hostels I didn't love, but I think the biggest thing is looking at Hostel World and the reviews there. I think they give a good overall a good idea of what the culture is like or the vibe is like. So,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What's your favorite hostel you've been in?
again, Switzerland, but I would say
Switzerland.
it's
Okay.
yeah, it's Mountain Hostel, and then I really like the one that I was in Hoi An called Lovely, like love and then Ly. That's her name, but that was a great, and they both for similar reasons, where it's just kind of this family atmosphere.
Mhm.
The one in Vietnam in Hoi An, it was a smaller hostel. I think there was like 20 people max,
Oh
but
wow.
every other day they did family dinners, so everybody would help and contribute and cook these
Oh, that's
Vietnamese
awesome.
dinners. It was almost like a free cooking class too, because I don't normally cook Vietnamese, but everybody helped out, and then everybody would sit at the table and eat, and people from other hostels and other spots would come and eat too, because it's such a known thing.
Yeah.
Um,
That's really cool. I don't think I've heard of that before.
yeah, it was amazing. I love those type of hostels where it's like feels like that family, even if you don't know each other's names.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a good community, and that's why I decided to stay there for a week,
Mhm.
instead of just a few days, because I ended up loving it so much, and it's just relaxed. It's almost like you're living there because you have a place to go back to, relax, and there's people to talk to and hang out with.
Yeah. 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 So I mean, it sounds like you do your research, but then do you necessarily like book the stuff in advance, or do you wait to get there to actually book, train tickets and hostels and things like that, so you can change your plans?
Yeah, I think it's different. So when I did Vietnam, I had a couple things that were booked, but I knew I wanted to kind of leave it open. So a lot of that was last minute bookings. Vietnam was so cheap though, so you didn't have to worry about canceling or
Yep.
changing. Switzerland, I booked train ahead of time because trains are so expensive. So I got the Swiss pass because I figured if I was going to get lost, then it's already paid for.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I booked that stuff ahead, and because I was out of practice, I feel like with solo travel, I wanted to have more of like a set plan. So I did book everything, and then I did a hotel my last night in Switzerland. And I loved the hotel because it was a nice hotel, but I kind of wish I didn't because I would have stayed longer in Switzerland
Yeah.
or in that hostel. But um, I would say it's a mix. I don't usually plan out activities. That's usually a spur of the moment or a day or 2 days in advance, unless it's something where you really have to book it in advance. But
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there any one place that you haven't been to, like, or like one activity that you haven't done in a certain place, like the hot air balloons in Cappadocia?
mhm.
Um, is there any other things like that you haven't done that you would love to do?
Yeah, I think with South Africa or Africa in general, safari would be amazing, of course.
Mhm.
Any of the deserts, which I think you've done with Morocco, but like camels in a desert.
Yeah.
I think that just staying in a desert too, like I was supposed to go and my plans changed with this, but I do want to go to Jordan eventually, and do the Wadi Rum Desert and just staying in the
Okay.
desert would be amazing.
Yeah, I think like seeing Petra and all those places in Jordan would be incredible.
Yeah. I do want to
Uh,
get eventually Patty certified, and um, I think that opens up more if you get scuba
okay.
certified. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I have actually my friend uh she's a big scuba diver, and she's telling me about a lot of the places that she went. It sounds scuba diving is not my thing, but I mean it
mhm.
sounds like if you're certified. There's a lot of really, really cool places that you can scuba dive around the world.
Yeah, I have some friends that are certified and they love it.
I don't know. Being in the ocean that deep, not my thing.
Well, lately too, when you hear about all this stuff, they're just like, I don't know what's going on in the ocean lately.
Yeah, I know the shark is just waiting for me.
Just waiting for you to jump in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I think that's, I mean, not to go down a rabbit hole, but just like, some of the fear that can come along with travel, and then just kind of, facing that fear, I feel like it can just make you grow so much as a person.
Yeah, because I was always terrified. Like I feel like hostels, people get so scared, and I feel
Yeah.
like I see more hotels now, just because of age. But I when I one of my first trips I ever did was with a group, but it was still solo. But it was to Croatia. But then my friends on that trip told me because I had like a 20-hour layover in Germany, and they're the ones that got me to go to the hostel, even though I was like so terrified to do it. And so then when I did that, I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. So then I did it in Portugal for the week. So it's like just opening up yourself to things that would normally scare you. It's such a learning experience and helps you grow.
Yeah. What other lessons have you kind of learned about yourself through your travels?
I think the big thing is that you can like everything will be figured out, even if it's not the outcome that you want. And I think just someone that like every day, like in like at home and stuff, I deal a little bit with anxiety. So I think just showing myself when I'm solo or just with a group too, but you can figure things out. It will work out. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the way it's supposed to or you want it to, but I think that's a good reminder. And then if I get nervous about something in my everyday life, I'm like, well, I traveled the world and I did this by myself. I can handle this.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah. So, Emma, any other pieces of advice that you want to give people, or stories that you want to share about your travels?
um, can't think of. I mean, the main thing is just being open to. I think the big thing too with travel too, if you even if you have a set plan and an itinerary, just allowing that to change because sometimes the
Yeah.
best stuff happens too when that changes, and nothing's going to go the way you want it to, even if you have it perfectly planned out
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Definitely.
Just being open,
Yeah. Yeah.
the biggest piece of advice.
No, I 100% agree with that. I love to plan and research too, and I've I've planned out trips so well, and I can't think of one that has ever gone exactly as planned.
I know. I think just letting go too, because otherwise, if you're so set in the ways that it can lead to disappointment,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
can
for
kind
sure.
of like ruin the feeling of the trip. So I feel like just having your plans, but then if it just being okay if it changes.
Yeah, being open to a new adventure. I think.
Exactly.
And I think when things don't go as planned, that's when you can maybe have some of the most impact experiences.
Exactly. I think that's how it's gone for me too.
Well, awesome, Emma. Anything else that you want to share before we jump off here?
I don't think so. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for doing this. I know my schedule has made it kind of difficult for us to to connect, but I'm glad we could make it work and talk about travel. It's always a great time. And hopefully we can travel again soon. I know we've our group had a lot of fun down in Cuba, and I think FTLO provides a lot of great trips. So maybe we'll get to travel again together soon.
Exactly. That's what the funny thing about FTLO. I was talking, I think, to Chris, one of our other friends, but about how that's the only, I've been on other group trips, but I feel like FTLO has the highest probability that you'll see somebody from a past trip. I just
Yeah,
feel like people know each other. It's like a community.
yeah, they do. They have a ton of repeat customers for sure,
Yeah.
which I think speaks highly of them. Definitely. So they're getting some more free advertising here on this podcast.
That was good.
Oh, cool. Well, Emma, thanks again. I appreciate the time, and I look forward to seeing you somewhere around the world soon.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So have a good one.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Hey everybody, Kyle here. If you enjoyed today's show and want more, you can always check out every episode on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and now Amazon Music as well. Just search for Our Travel Experiences on any of those platforms and it will pop up. You can also find everything all in one place on my website, ourtravelexp.com. And if you want to see my travel pictures as well as travel pictures from guests on the show, you can check them out on Instagram. The page is called Our Travel Experiences Podcast. And if you want to share your own pictures on the Instagram page or be a guest on the podcast, you can message me via that Instagram page or email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com. I would love to see your pictures and hear about your travel experiences, so please send them my way. And if that isn't enough for you, make sure to check out my weekly YouTube show, From Around the World Fridays. Every Friday, I'm taking 5 to 10 minutes to answer questions from listeners, share some souvenirs that I bought over the years, share my postcards over the years that I've accumulated, or share videos and pictures from one particular city or country that I visited, and so much more. So check it out, guys. You won't be disappointed, and make sure you go subscribe to that as well. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you somewhere around the world soon. Thank you to all the listeners and subscribers of this podcast. It's amazing that I get the opportunity to do this and, talk to all of these amazing people around the world and hear their stories and share it with you. It's been a dream doing this. It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to keep moving forward with it. As always, the subscriptions, $3 of the monthly subscription goes towards providing school supplies to kids in need around the world. And I'll be providing more updates on those, on progress with that as time moves along. But again, hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next week for another inspiring story and great episode. Have a great week. See you next time.